Okay, so this is chapter 3. Oh, sorry, getting an update from on the coronavirus. But anyway, so you picked chapter 3 here.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was this chapter about?
So this was about Galileo and Kepler.
Okay.
And how they were trying to look at a new type of equation. So, like, up until this point, like, the math that was used was not really used to describe things that were moving. It was mostly just, like, set things, like areas.
Okay.
But they wanted to look at planetary motion. So like they had the sun, and then a planet, and they wanted to look at how the planet moves around the sun and how the speed changes. And I think this came from their observation of Mars when Mars goes backward as observed from the Earth.
Oh yeah. What's that called? Retrograde.
The retrograde of Mars.
Uh-huh.
So they used that, and they knew that the sun was at the center of the solar system. They were trying to find equations to describe motion, and I think they also used were looking at gravities and an equation for gravity and how fast things fall down.
Uh-huh.
But I thought that was kind of interesting.
So, actually, I think this kind of mirrors a lot of how math is taught in school. Like before you studied calculus last year, there wasn't a lot of
Motion.
questions about motion. At least I don't think there was there?
No.
Okay. All right. And so you thought it was interesting that they this is quite a bit after Archimedes, even though we've moved from chapter 2 to chapter 3.
A couple thousand years, but they wanted to see equations for how things move.
Okay. And what were some of your takeaways from this chapter about what they thought about or what you learned from reading about it?
Well, this is kind of the first instance where we see the derivative being used, but not as it's called the derivative, but like how things change, like how the speed of this ball changes, and how like the orbit of this planet, the speed that this planet's going, the velocity changes. Like when it's here, maybe it's going like that. When it's here, maybe it's not going as fast.
Okay. And do you remember any of the considerations they had to take, or new ideas they had to think about?
Well, they had to use the heliocentric model, which was a new idea at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't have like complicated equipment, so they couldn't really see these things very clearly.
Right.
Like, I think the most precise object they could see was like Jupiter's moons, but they could see like the planets, but they couldn't like take pictures of them or have like a giant display of them.
Did it say how many moons? I guess it probably would guess.
I think it was
four.
The four big ones.
Yeah, they could see the 4 from Jupiter. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, neat. So that's an interesting sort of development in time. And yeah, so like in the last video you were saying like you wouldn't have thought to subdivide the circle into a bunch of straight lines. And so now I shouldn't say that this is a harder problem, but it's definitely a new thing. Like nobody's been thinking about motion, and now they have to sort of develop their own ideas that literally nobody has thought about before to some extent, and figure out how it works. Okay, cool. It's a good choice of a neat chapter. All right, let's go to the last one.